So Nike has just officially thrown every law enforcement officer under the bus by making Colin Kaepernick their face of their Just Do It campaign. Yes, with the words, believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything. This is one of the biggest hypocrisies that we've seen in a long time, that a major shoe company, Nike, would endorse a man that has publicly stated on his profile, on his social media venues, that law enforcement is nothing more than slave patrol. With they're basically, Nike, you need to understand what you did. You've pretty much endorsed that law enforcement are nothing more than runaway slave patrol. It's very much hypocrisy when you think that if there were an armed robbery at Nike headquarters, who would be the first people that Nike would call? Would they call Colin Kaepernick? No, they would call the law enforcement officers. They would call law enforcement. You need to understand why Colin Kaepernick should never have an NFL job ever again, and why teams shouldn't hire Colin Kaepernick, because when you're at a football game, the reason why people aren't creating anarchy, stealing from people, beating up people, robbing people, raping women in the stands, is because that law enforcement keeps those people in check. You have law enforcement officers who keep everything in order at the game. And then to have a quarterback who says that law enforcement isn't really about enforcing laws, keeping an orderly society. No. According to Colin Kaepernick, law enforcement is just runaway slave patrol out to arrest people of color and harass people of color. That's all law enforcement is. It's all this stuff about justice, law, and keeping an orderly society is a bunch of baloney. According to Colin Kaepernick, it's just all about harassing people of color, putting people of color in prison, and that's what it's all about, according to Colin Kaepernick. That's what Colin Kaepernick believes. That's what Nike is endorsing. That's what Nike's putting their name on. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. Well, Nike may say, well, we don't endorse everything that Colin puts on his Facebook or on his Twitter, on his social media accounts, but we believe that Colin is sacrificing everything for something he believes, and that's honorable. Well, okay, let's say a KKK member decides to kneel for the flag and says, my belief that white people are more supreme than any other race, that's my belief and I'm willing to sacrifice everything for it. Would you get them a shoe deal, a commercial? No. What you believe, just because you sacrifice something for what you believe, it depends on what you believe. If what you believe is a bunch of baloney, it's made up on a false lie, like Colin's little thing where law enforcement are mean to people, are racist against people of color, which is a bunch of hogwash, which is a bunch of baloney by people who want to commit crimes and get away with and blame something. They want to break the law, then blame the law. That's basically what Black Lives Matter is all about. That's what all these baloney is all about, and unfortunately major media networks have bought into it, including Nike. And Nike is pretty much hypocritically bought into it. And like I said, if somebody were to go hold up Nike headquarters, they'd call law enforcement, and being the heroes that law enforcement are, they're not gonna say, hey, Nike endorses a man and pays millions and millions of dollars to a man that says that our agency isn't about law enforcement, isn't about keeping an orderly society. No. We want to endorse a man like Colin Kaepernick who says law enforcement is just runaway slave patrol out to harass, murder people of color, black people. That's basically what you've endorsed, Nike. Now put your face by it, put your logo by that. Put your logo by every single thing that Colin Kaepernick has endorsed on his Facebook page, because that's what you've endorsed. That's what you've hired. That's what you need to put your name by it. You see that logo? You see that? You can't ignore history. That's what Colin believes. He believes that runaway slave patrol is modern police officers. That all people, that this is just every time a black person gets arrested or a law enforcement officer is forced to defend himself by shooting a criminal who is not obeying the law, that this is a big racist thing. This is slave patrol. This is all that. That's what you endorse, Nike. You want to put your face by that. You want to believe that and give this man millions of dollars for a Nike campaign from that, and then be a hypocrite to use the services of law enforcement. You put your face by what you've endorsed, Nike. Put your face by what you've endorsed, Nike. And all the celebrities who are donating to Colin Kaepernick. Put your face by what you've endorsed. Never call the cops again unless you want to be labeled a hypocrite, because according to what you've endorsed, according to Colin Kaepernick, they're just slave patrol out to harass people of color. These men and women, law enforcement, who go out every single day defending your rights, defending your freedom, defending NFL games from going anarchy, defending keeping an orderly society, you're endorsing this guy. Nike has dropped the ball in every sense of the word, and any celebrity who has donated to Colin Kaepernick has dropped the ball, and their face needs to be put next to what they've endorsed.